We are so happy to have you here today.
Sharon Church, I'm so happy to be here with you. And, I know this doesn't work very well for radio, but I do really love your glasses.
Oh, thank you very much. They're brand new. I'm getting older and can't see the computer, so here we are now.
Well, they look great.
Thank you so much. You look great. Your album cover looks great. I've been catching clips. I have your album right here. Look at this. Look at this beautiful girl.
Ooh, thanks.
I've been catching your clips on Facebook of your music videos. Please tell me what you've been up to these last, I don't know, 20 months. I see you've been very, very busy.
Well, yeah, it's been a different pace of busy. Um, like we have two shows coming up at the end of the month, and I was talking to friends about it. Usually, any kind of shows would be sandwiched in between hundreds of other shows, but that's not the case right now, of course, right? Like we played Swift Current last week, and that was amazing. And we're playing Regina and Saskatoon at the end of the month. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we will be playing Moose Jaw in March.
Nice. Where
Yeah,
where will you be playing in Moose Jaw?
at the May Wilson Theater. Love that venue. Love that venue so much. And so, yeah, we'll be back locally in Moose Jaw in March. And these shows, they do mean so much to me because of course we weren't able to do them for so long. And but in the last 19, 20 months, however long it's been now, we were trying to figure out how to continue to record this album. So I'm really grateful that my band, took it upon themselves to, in some cases, teach themselves how to record from home. And that's really how we ended up making the album, is sending it to Justin Bender, another Moose Jaw person, and sending the tracks to him, and then he mixed and mastered it from his studio in Moose Jaw. But so much of this album was recorded in our own homes, and the amount that added so much time to the process in a really at times frustrating way, but also um, I was also grateful for the extra time too, because it just allowed you, I guess, to do more editing, or just sitting with each track and sitting with each song and thinking, like, is this the actual thing we want to do? I don't know. I was just given way more time, I spent more time on it. Yeah.
So you had never done that as a band? You had always been in studio together, collaborating together?
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, it was such a learning curve, and a different, just it was so strange at times. But that was such a part of recording that I really loved, was being in the studio with everybody, right? The friendship, the snacks, the jokes, and then producing each other. Like I produced this record. My band co-produced it, and the album before, Seeker, that we released in 2017, that was also a co-production. So um, we didn't have the chance to produce each other, or like each other in the same way. Um, but we tried our best through, like, just especially when I think about my guitarist Darnell Stewart. He's in Saskatoon, and the way that him and I work together throughout this process is, so many little voice memo, like little clips here or there, being sent back and forth. He was so generous, sending me different clips and ideas, and then just figuring out different ways to do that and to keep morale high, and keep
Oh,
keep
yeah.
the project moving forward.
Well, and did you write these songs during the pandemic? Were they written before? Where in the process were you when this album, kind of began?
So we had actually recorded the majority of Artifact and Quiet, that are two songs on this album, in January 2020. And then we had a week of studio time booked for after when the Junos were supposed to happen in March 2020. But of course, then we were just like staying at home. And it took me a little while to feel like I wanted to keep working on the album, because that was just such a shock, right? Like, we all went through this collective, and are still going through, this collective trauma, and it's a lot. So it took me a bit to get back on my feet. And then when I did, uh, it was interesting sharing because like for me because I thought this album was done, and then I did a photo shoot, the photo shoot that for the album with the cake, and that's in Crescent Park. Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Well, actually, if you look at the cover, um, oh no, they got edited out. Okay, so I was gonna say you might recognize the apartments, but no, I just realized they're not in that shot. Okay, never mind. Yeah. But we did that photo shoot, and that was in September 2020. And then I went home, and within a month, I'd written two more songs that kind of became like the mission statements for the album. So Table for One and Table for One Reprise. That's from that was inspired by that photo shoot, which again because of the extra time we had to take that allowed that the process was so different, and through collaborating with a fellow creative, Aaron Sinclair, wonderful photographer out of Regina, two more songs came out of it, so it was just such a different process. Yeah.
well, we're so glad that you did keep going. I saw the clip of Table for One. It's a beautiful video, the clip that I saw. The lyrics are great. I also saw the video for Coffee as well. What else did I see? Oh, yeah, and Chew Quietly, Clean Slates. But can you tell me a little bit about the video for Coffee?
Yeah.
What was the inspiration? Because it is a little bit of a different video. I see with your like, what was the inspiration you're in? Well, what are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing a hot dog costume.
Yes. Does that signify anything, or is it symbolism, or is it like what made you decide to do the costume there with that video?
That song for me is so vulnerable, and I feel, just when you're open, when you're being vulnerable, sometimes you can just feel, for lack of a better word, silly when when you're being that open. And so I thought, well, I want to look like how I feel sometimes when I'm singing this song and singing these songs where where I'm really putting myself out there. And sometimes you just feel silly. So I wanted to be a hot dog.
I love it. Well, thank you for being vulnerable. I love that little tidbit of information there. 'Cause I think we all do. We all feel silly when we have to kind of be raw and vulnerable, and it's kind of feels weird. So it kind of breaks the tension a little bit there.
Yeah, thanks. And it's just like so much about being human is just feeling so awkward. Like that so that video for me, I am being really vulnerable with my lyrics, and I wanted to look as awkward as I feel. And so this video for me is like, when you wave to or like when someone like waves to a friend that's behind you and you wave back, that's just kind of, how I feel, and how maybe the viewer to kind of feel like, oh, this is awkward.
Let's talk about something that you're not awkward in live. When you play live, you're so fantastic, and I'm excited that you some
Thanks.
live shows coming down the loop here. Tell us a little bit about what it's like playing live now versus what it was like, of course, in the heyday, BC before COVID.
Yeah. Um, it is interesting to me how quickly I can slip back into just like feeling feeling like everything's normal. Obviously, it looks different. Like everybody in the show at the show in Swift Current. The show in Swift Current was my first indoor show um with an audience. Like we did some stuff that was just like for filming last year. But this was the first time I did an indoor show, and so everyone's wearing masks. But now that's become, we've been so used to that too. But um the excitement is still there, and that feeling of connection. And I'm just reminded, it's I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I do. I went through a bit of like a it's so easy to forget when you're not doing it. Like I went from, playing 100 shows a year to, none. Or I think in 2020, I think we did play. I think it was less than 10, but we were able to do a few outdoor shows. The drive-in shows were amazing. Like that the production is so, you need so much production to pull that stuff off. But like, it was really cool to get to do some of these, shows that have been tailored to be safe around COVID. I don't know. Sorry, Sharon. I feel like my answer is so rambly. It's just overwhelmingly awesome to be back up on stage. Like I
Mhm.
can't even describe it. But once, like for the 45 minutes when you're playing, it's like you just get lost in the music and you're just like you're in it, you're in it, you're in it. And then when you go to the merch table, it's like, oh yeah, here's some distance. Like here's here,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So it's not like the old days 100%, but it's just I feel so blessed to be able to do it in any way, shape, or form right now.
Absolutely. So you're going to be at the Exchange Friday, November 26th in Regina. And then your Saskatoon date is when?
November 27th.
November 27th. Okay. So back to back, Regina, then Saskatoon. How do people get tickets?
They can get tickets on my website, just megannash.ca. And then also the tickets for the Moose Jaw Show too are also live. So yeah, March 19th for the Moose Jaw May Wilson Show. And I actually haven't announced the opener for that show yet, but I'm very excited. So stay tuned for that.
Right. Keep our eyes peeled. Also, where can we find your album? Where can we buy it?
It will be on the internet. But if you want to have a compact disc in your hands, you can go to Against the Grain in downtown Moose Jaw and buy a copy. You can also visit the gas station, the Moose Jaw Co-op gas station on Thatcher Drive, Ross Park.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Park gas bar has coffees as well. So, and also, yeah, shout out to those local businesses that are willing to carry my CDs for me. I do appreciate that.
Well, we're so excited that you're playing live again because you are phenomenal live. Love the album. Love checking out the videos. That's super exciting that you've got that. And yeah, I'm excited for the future for you, Megan Nash.
Thanks, Sharon. That's nice of you to say. And thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today. And I just really appreciate the ongoing support from Mix 103. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Now I just have to figure out how to stop this recording.
I feel like my answers were so rambly, Sharon. I'm so sorry. I'm just like out of practice.
They everybody's out of practice. I'm 1 second here. Just I truly do have to figure out how to stop this recording. Stop recording. There we go. There we go. No, you were fantastic. Let me go. Stop recording and transcript. Yes.
I should have asked you at the start of it. When do you plan on